You're familiar with one of those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this was heavily inspired. Well, somewhat inspired. I wouldn't say heavily, but somewhat inspired by your boy, Brian Douglas Phillips, and his studio.
Oh, nice.
You know how he has just such a collection of random stuff, but it all makes sense?
I would say, yes, it
This
makes...
is not as cool as his spot, because he's got more instruments and stuff, but,
Yeah.
you know, it makes me feel good.
No, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's great.
Did you get hit with a bunch of water last night?
Yeah.
Yeah?
No,
Tornadoes?
no,
Hail?
yeah.
Some frozen ice
Yeah.
cubes from the sky?
Did that happen to you?
No. Well, I mean, I was thankful that it was just raining for once. I didn't really step outside to check. I just heard it a lot.
Yeah, me too.
I heard the rain. So, yeah, hopefully we didn't get hail. Our roof wouldn't like that. But, yeah.
No, I didn't see any hail. I know Fredericksburg got hail, but
Okay. You're looking trim. You been working out?
I stopped drinking.
Okay. That'll do it.
Yeah.
That's an easy, quick fix.
Yeah, and I've been walking a lot, but other than that, no.
No? Okay. Fully stop the just beer and the whiskey?
Yeah, yeah.
Everything.
No booze. No booze, no coffee either.
All right, Reid. How did you do it? I love coffee. How did you break the coffee spell?
Man, okay. Let's see how I will explain this.
There's a Waterloo if you're
awesome.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So, I don't know. We can talk about later maybe if I don't know how much of this I want to discuss, but anyways, for now I'll discuss it all.
Well, coffee it was pretty important in your life, right?
It was important
as it
in my
is
life.
in mine.
Right.
It was a daily routine.
So what happened was this is kind of personal.
Well, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
Well, I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
Okay.
And it informs some of, it informs definitely what's been going on for me in the last 6 months or so. But I ended up, I had to go to the hospital.
Okay.
I had to go to the hospital for mental health reasons.
Yeah.
And it was largely anxiety induced and related.
Yeah.
And so while I was there, I decided definitely while I was at the hospital, I didn't want to drink any coffee because I was like having some extreme anxiety episodes.
Yeah.
And then once I got out of the hospital, which was just like 3 or 4 days, I figured, well, that was probably going to be the worst of it, the coffee withdrawal. And so I was
headaches and stuff.
Yeah. So I was like, I might as well just see how long I can go and keep. I also just wanted to keep my anxiety at bay. So, caffeine is an easy thing to cut out when you're trying to stay chill.
All right. Fair.
Yeah.
Are you drinking like more water? What did you replace it? Or did
decaf.
You okay, decaf. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I'm actually, it's been 3.5 months since I was in the hospital. So, I'm thinking about slowly reintroducing caffeine. I have to put some sort of vice habit back into my life.
Yeah. So
I'm thinking about going like quarter calf, then back to. I was drinking only half calf before because of my anxiety.
How much coffee were you drinking? Because I could drink a full pot by myself.
I could probably drink a full pot of half calf. I would go, the kind of normal size Yeti mugs.
Sure. Yeah.
I would probably have 2 of those a day.
Okay.
So not a lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but it was half calf, so I could kind of drink it. That was why I liked half calf, is because I could drink it all day. I could start in the morning, get a little bit of a jolt, but then continue sipping on something warm and tasty all day long.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
You ever thought about doing pour overs, or have you ever done a pour over?
Those are super strong, aren't they?
I don't know I think if you manage like the coffee grounds and how much you put in there, I think it would just be more about the ritual of things.
Okay.
Like you're just enjoying this one cup of coffee and that's it. But because it takes so long to, do the whole process thing, I feel like that would mitigate the consumption of coffee, but I could be wrong.
I mean, It wasn't an issue of consumption, of overdoing it.
Yeah.
The alcohol wasn't an issue of overdoing it. And I don't know where my relationship with alcohol is right now.
Yeah. Have you ever tried those NA beers?
Yeah, I love them.
There's a lot of good ones out there.
Yeah, dude,
now.
there's like a whole new industry. It's great.
But, I mean, what? Let's say 15 years ago, there was just O'Doul's and that was it.
That was it.
It wasn't very good.
No, not at all.
And now they got the THC beers and stuff like that. So it's I think they're accommodating the alcohol part they're accommodating people who don't want to partake in the alcohol part.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's way cool. And like I play a lot of weddings, and more weddings are like offering non-alcoholic beer options, which is really, really cool.
That's so interesting. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of definitely the generation younger than us. I guess are there two generations considered younger than us?
I don't like
now
to
that are
think about
drinking
those things.
Well, whatever it is, they're not drinking nearly as much, and so that everybody's kind of scrambling to find something to offer them.
Right.
And I think the NA beers are one. The THC, I haven't tried the THC stuff, and it's probably gonna be gone.
I know.
By the end of this year.
Fucking bummer.
Yeah, that really. So I want to try those before they go because I've heard from a lot of people that they're cool.
They're good. They're chill. A 5 milligram little thing that'll do you right.
That's what I heard. You just kind of sip on that slowly.
I had one at one of your at Guar's concert.
At Guar's?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They played at East Austin Radio. East Radio.
Okay.
And it was a good old time.
Cool.
I forgot how entertaining that band is.
Yeah, dude.
They took, of course, they always take a stab at who's ever who's ever the president. Took a stab at ICE, and they even chopped off T Swift's head. Oh no! Which was pretty comedic. But,
wow.
Yeah. So they
only Guar. There are very few people that can do that and get away with it, and Guar is one of them.
Oh, they've been the best at it for quite some time now. What, over 30 years or something like that?
I don't know. I mean, they were on Beavis and Butthead is where I first saw them. That was 25 years. There's 30 years ago maybe. So
is Beavis and Butthead, are they making a comeback as well in their shows? I saw something like that.
I think Mike Judge said he was going to make a couple of, like, maybe he already has. Maybe it's been a couple years of new episodes, but I don't know that they're. I don't know if he's bringing them completely out of retirement.
I mean, some things should be left in the past, but I would like to see what he can do with the content now and the time that we're in, and how that show would run. But yeah, that's a good show. I
wonder if some of it has to do with rights. I mean, definitely the reruns have to do with rights. You can't watch those reruns anymore because of the MTV rights. That. But I wonder how expensive it is to make those shows now, especially since he was on MTV at that time. So I bet he was getting access to the videos for pretty cheap, and then now he would have to buy the rights or at least like license everything and be a more expensive endeavor.
I would say from like a creation standpoint, it's probably a lot easier with technology and computer software to create those shows, because as opposed to hand drawing them out back in the day.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so I have an important question. Have you ever seen your neighbors bring in the groceries? I've been asking everyone this question. Have you ever seen your neighbors in your neighborhood bring in their groceries?
No.
It's wild to think about, isn't it? You see them come and go probably once a week, if that. Like, I see these guys at least once a week coming out of the garage, walking their dog. Yeah. But I've never seen them bring in groceries.
Is that part of the simulation?
I think that's part of the simulation. I saw it on Reddit, so I went down
dark
rabbit holes. Yeah,
that's what inspired that question?
That's what inspired that question. I want to ask because it's a question from the internet. It's a question from
the truth
simulation.
Teller. Yeah.
And I want to ask normal people who I have, conversations with. Have you seen? And I don't know. It's just something I've been sitting around with. A lot to unpack there.
I'm gonna just have to sit out all afternoon. And wait and see if they come home from the grocery store.
So how old is your daughter now?
She'll be 18 months.
18 months.
On June 1st. Today is the 27th. So she just started a new school today, like a full-time daycare. Wow. So we dropped her off for full-time daycare today, which was really exciting for her, hopefully, and for the parents because it gives us a lot more time.
I was going to say it's good for you guys because it gives it It gives you guys a break. It gives
Yeah.
you guys some time to just chill and do the things that you need to do as
Yeah,
adults.
get adult things done.
I had a comedian on this podcast, Evan Lopez, and he explained to me, you really don't know how much time you have. You really don't know how much free time you have until you have a child.
That is true. That is true. That has been a major struggle for me. I think I've been talking to a lot of people about kids because I have one now.
Me too.
And
We're
I
in
think
discussion.
one of the reasons it's been so difficult for me is because I had her. My wife had her. Later, you
were
know,
associated with her in some form or fashion.
yeah, I helped create her. I didn't do much as far as actually bringing her into the world goes.
Right.
But my dad actually was the one who pointed out, like, you waited till you were 40 to have a baby, which is becoming more and more normal. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think so. Yeah.
But you had 40 years of life to get used to doing things a certain way. Instead of someone who has a baby at 25, you're hardly an adult when you're 25. So now I have to completely rewire my brain. And it's been a real challenge. I will admit it is not all fun.
And you're not alone in that. When I talk to my other buddies who are, my age or a little bit older, they're like, Ramon, it sucks. It's going to suck. And it's going to suck some more. But then, you fall in love with the kid and it's just, it all makes sense and you do everything you can. You love it so much that, those sucky moments just really don't matter.
It's really true. I could not fathom how people, before I had the kid, before we had Isla, everybody would tell me, like, you'll go through hell and then you won't even remember it. Like I would ask advice from my sisters who had just had babies. I mean, they're 1-year-olds or 2 or 3-year-olds, and they would already just say, I don't know, I don't remember. And your mind just dumps the trauma and just remembers the good parts. For now, there's still plenty of struggle going on. I mean, Jenna and I both work. Luckily, I work at night mostly, so there's some like spreading around of the duties that we can do, but it is very difficult to raise a baby.
Right. And my other buddy, Sal, he was like, when we're older now, so we don't have as much energy as those 25, 26-year-olds who are having kids. And I didn't think about that. I'm like, shit. All right. Yeah, you're right. My energy levels are not going to grow as I go older. So
yeah, your body finds a way usually to find some sort of reserve that you didn't think you had.
Oh,
but
I've been working with musicians late at night, and then there was this one instance where we had a tea time on a Saturday, and I love golf, so I'm not going to miss that tea time. But I was in Houston until about, I want to say maybe 1:45 a.m. So I made the trek, and man, was that difficult. And then I went to go play a round of golf on an hour of sleep.
oof.
And I told my buddy Ross, who's also a father, and he loves golf as well. I'm like, I don't know how you do this, dude. You have 2 kids, and you're still able to wake up in the morning and come play golf with us. You are a god. I just don't. I don't understand that energy level and what it takes to be a father, a parent.
Yeah, you just figure it. You just figure it out.
And then imagine like single parents. Oh my god.
I don't know how.
That blows my mind.
I really don't know how they do it. It's a different comparison, but one of my friends has twins, and now that with that Jenna and I had to take care of just one person, I don't know. Every time I run into him, I tell him the government should issue y'all like $1 million. People who have multiple kids at one time should get some sort of gold bar or something.
Some award should be given, but then you have the prestigious award of being a parent, or in your case, a father, and then that's just something that's never going to get taken away from you.
Oh yeah, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
So in the schemes of you raising your child, how's music going? How's writing music? How's performing? How's all this stuff?
It's good.
Is it different?
It's difficult, man. I don't know. You talk to a lot of musicians. I have had a really tough time getting gigs in town for the last couple of years. Really, there has not been a Reid Brothers show, not by choice. I've had a lot of trouble booking shows. Like, people just will not get back to me.
Why are you blacklisted, bro?
I don't know. It really has started to feel that way, and I don't know what I did. I don't know if the secret got out.
I mean,
but I really.
Did you go party with Diddy that we're not aware of?
Yeah, one of the freakouts or whatever. No, man, I never got an invite to one of those. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the music scene in Austin. I don't know if they're just looking for younger people, or
I don't really think that's the case.
Well, I don't think we're going to solve the issue.
But we can talk about it.
Solve the mystery.
I think we can complain about it too, because I like to complain in my head, and because no one else will listen to my complaints, but I think there's something cathartic about complaining about it. And I don't think it's an age thing, because there's another lady musician who's, I'm not going to name her because I don't think they like, when you say how old they are.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But she's getting gigs around. So I don't know what the case is, but what do you think it is? It can't be age. Let's eliminate
it. Could be laziness. It could just be that I'm not working hard enough.
That could be it. Are you playing any any bar shows, or like going down? No. Is that something you want to do?
No. No, I've done that.
Okay.
Like just going downtown, like down to 6th Street or something?
Like Rustic Tap or someplace.
I've tried that. Yeah. No, that's not.
No?
No.
I saw you doing this, you were in a group in a circle at some really nice old home, I guess. Not the old folks' home, but an older home. And you were playing there to a small group of people. What was that about?
Let's see.
You posted it on social media.
Oh, it might have been the Texas Songwriters.
There you go. Yeah, that's what it was.
I was a finalist in a songwriting contest called Texas Songwriter University. It's Jack Ingram and Liz Rose, and this year Lori McKenna was another. People who write songs know those names. Liz Rose wrote a bunch of songs with Taylor Swift before she was unfortunately beheaded a couple of nights ago. So she won't be writing with her anymore. But
I know.
She wrote a bunch of Taylor's, or co-wrote a bunch of Taylor Swift's early songs, like the stuff on her first 3 or 4 records. And she's written with a bunch of people. And then Lori McKenna wrote, it's a song I sing all the time at weddings. It's a Tim McGraw song. I'm not going to think of the name, but she is a very successful songwriter as well. And she lives in Boston, but writes country music, and she kind of has, she's got a cool story because she's never moved. I didn't realize this. She has a place in Nashville, but she's never lived there. So she's always commuted from Boston. So she's made that work for her.
Well, she's probably got some frequent flyer miles out of that.
Yeah.
I assume. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
But that was what that was. It was cool. It was 10 of us.
You were a finalist, so this is a competition?
Yeah, you apply, send 2 songs in, and get chosen if they like your songs, and then they're like, you're a top 10. I think there were either 8 or 10 of us.
So you got through the door and you got to perform because they liked your music, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did 2 shows. We did one that was public at Saxon Pub, and then we did this kind of intensive songwriting camp out at this guy's house, big, huge ranch house outside of town. And then did 2 days of writing. We were paired up together. The 10 of us were kind of paired up in different configurations. And then we did another private show that was out at the house that was for just kind of like they called them VIPs. There were some local luminaries. Mac Brown was there, which was really cool.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He was in the front row. He's friends with Jack. So Jack Ingram, Mac Brown, and then Matthew McConaughey have that Mac, Jack, and McConaughey. It's have you ever heard of that?
No, I haven't. The Mac Brown from the championship winning team.
Yeah.
2003?
2005, I think.
2005? No, it could have been 2005. That's when I graduated.
Yeah.
I remember talking shit to all my buddies in high school because I was from Southern California. So I wanted USC to win.
It was the 05 it was the 05 season, and we won it in 06 because we went to the Rose Bowl the year before and played Michigan.
Okay. Anyways, Mac Brown was there.
I'm sorry, I am right.
I get it.
But you graduated, yeah. So, anyways, Mac Brown was there.
Yeah.
They have a charity called Mac, Jack, and McConaughey, and they do a charity event every year at the Moody Theater. And actually, one of the things that was like a perk of being the winner of this contest, which I was not chosen as the winner. It's okay. It was great to be nominated.
Yeah.
It was actually they're really honest. There really were no winners except that there was one, but we all got the same experience, which was really, really cool. Yeah. But one of the perks of being the winner was that you got to play the charity event, which was just a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, and then Eric Church headlined it.
Okay. So when you are in, were you writing with a bunch of strangers essentially?
Yeah.
How is that?
It's fun. I've done that
Really?
before.
Okay.
I did that actually right when I started writing, which I still feel like I'm new at songwriting, but now it's been 7 years or so. But right when I started, I didn't know where to start, and so I reached out to a friend of mine. I was in a band called Nello that used to live in Athens, Georgia, and we, through a connection of our drummer at the time, played a music festival in Florence, Alabama, which is right across the river from Muscle Shoals, Alabama, which is
Okay.
Muscle Shoals is just a really, really famous. Are you familiar with Muscle Shoals?
Not by any means.
So Muscle Shoals
Sounds very strong.
Yeah, they in the 60s and 70s especially, there were these two studios there. One was called Fame and one was called Muscle Shoals Sound. And they had Fame started this wrecking crew, this kind of really badass group of session musicians. They ended up being called the Swampers, and then they ended up defecting to the Muscle Shoals Sound Studio, which was a huge sort of it was headline news in back in the 70s. But anyways, they played on a shitload of records that you've heard before, and I like weird stuff. Like they played on a couple of Elton John records. They played on, I think they were on some Rolling Stones songs that I'm not sure ever made the albums, but there's in this documentary called Gimme Shelter. There's a whole section of them in Muscle Shoals recording at Muscle Shoals Sound, the Stones. But Paul Simon was there. I mean, it started with like Aretha Franklin and Wilson Pickett back in the early 60s. But anyways, that was at Fame. Those two started out at Fame. Yeah. And this guy named Rick Hall started Fame. His son Rodney had expressed interest in us in Nello back in 2000, whatever, a long time ago. So anyways, as I got off, this is a long story, Ramon.
That's what this whole show is about. We're about long stories.
Okay. So I was on The Voice.
I remember.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
That was in 2018. So I got off of The Voice, and I had never written a song in my life. And The Voice showed me, taught me, told me, expressed to me in my soul that music was what I was supposed to be doing. But I had no way. I mean, as a vocalist without songs, you're really at the mercy of. You're always at the mercy of the song.
Right.
So in Nello, somebody else was writing all the songs. So I was just singing his songs, and it was really fun. But I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to be beholden or connected. I didn't want to have to depend on anybody else. So I decided I needed to learn how to write. So I emailed Rodney Hall, the owner of Fame now. His dad has passed. And asked him, can I come up? They have a publishing arm as well, just a small stable of writers. And I asked him, can I come up there and write with some of your guys? And he said, of course you can. And so I went to Florence and then to Muscle Shoals. It's right across it lived there 5 minutes apart. I don't know why. I always stayed in Florence because it had better hotels. But Muscle Shoals,
they had Super 8s instead of Motel 6s.
There was a really cool kind of small hotel that Rodney had a connection with. But anyways,
was it one of those hotels that like the door opened outside, or like did they have a lobby?
The door, they had a lobby.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It was cool. But anyways, I started writing there, and so that was my first introduction into writing with strangers. That's a very long way of saying I had done that before.
I thank you for that journey. I am astounded by your musical history and knowledge, because that is something that I've always been impressed by you. You have this wealth of knowledge in musical history that I never knew. So
well, people can Google it. I mean, I make a lot of it up. So
do you?
I mean, you don't know?
I don't know that. Damn it, Reid. This is where we don't fact check. This is where I trust your knowledge.
Yeah.
And this
we can do a fact check like Dak Shepard and Monica.
So going back to the Texas songwriters thing, what were some of the things you got out of that as far as learning a songwriting skill?
Let's see.
Was there anything?
Yeah, there were. It was actually interesting. It was me and one other guy, and then 8 girls. So I wrote with all women, which I had never written with a woman before.
What are the different characteristics?
I mean, it's not really that different.
Okay.
It really depends on whether or not you click with the person. Right. And I actually tend to click better with women. Okay. I had 3 sisters growing up, sure, and a mom. So I was. You
have a daughter now? And
I have a daughter and a wife. So I actually really enjoyed it. I found it easier to connect, honestly. But after the initial sort of how you doing, what's your name, what's going on with you in your life, for us it was, for me, I usually, I don't know, let's see, everyone was different. Yeah. Because everybody's writing style is different. Some of the women had like journals that they had lyrics already written out. Some of them just had song ideas. I came in with a couple of ideas. I think one of my strong suits is melody. So I think for most of the songs, the beginning of the idea, at least lyrically, was usually the other person's, and then I would come up with some of the chord structure and the melody. But everything was different. Every person was different. We did 4 or 5 co-writes in 2 days, so we were writing a lot.
How do you say like, no, that song doesn't feel right for those type of lyrics? How do you have this critiqueness of other people's work if you've never really met them?
You just have to say it. It's just like that's
not. Don't ever sing that again.
I think people who have co-written know to have. It's not thick skin, but like it's the journey towards the best idea. And so as long as everybody is on the same page about that journey, then your feelings shouldn't be hurt if the other person says, nah, I don't think that's right. Yeah. Unless you really do think it's right, and then you can state your case, and then the other person can either wither and become dominated by you, or they can continue to disagree, or you can come to some sort of compromise. Yeah.
That's one thing that I've never really, I don't like it when people are over my shoulder telling me how to edit. I am more than happy to edit out my idea, send over a revision, or send over the edit, and then they give me an email list of, okay, chop this out. That's more, artistically fruitful for me than having someone over my shoulder saying, nope, change that, do that, move that clip there. Oh, no. I couldn't do that. But it seems like that's the way it is with the singer-songwriter circle, is like you're just telling people, hey, that shouldn't go there, or rearrange that.
There's way less criticism, I think, than you're making it sound like, unless you're working with the real asshole.
That's what my therapist said, is like I make mountains out of molehills.
Oh yeah, well that's what you're doing right now.
Okay, thank you. All right, Reid.
No, usually if you're writing with someone who's got a sense of humor, or I don't know, a sense of humanity, then like there's trust within the space of the co-write.
But how do you give that trust to a complete stranger? They
Well-
they don't earn it right off the bat, do they?
I think it depends on the person. I think it's like, for me, it was a lot easier to open up to a lady. Like, but most of the time, for these specific instances, these 4 or 5 co-writes that we did over the course of this weekend, I think there was only one song that was primarily my lyrics. So the other person would bring in the idea for the song. Usually, like a title or a tag, and then we would both come up with lyrical lines together. That would be kind of how it would go. So it's a back and forth. It's just a conversation. You sit there, you strum, and you sing 7 lines that suck, and they sing 7 lines that suck, and then they sing 1 line, and you're like, that is good. And then you move on to the next line, and then you do the same thing.
Overall, how long was that entire process?
2
days, you said?
Yeah, the whole thing. I thought you meant the rights.
No. This is just the entire thing was 2 days.
The whole thing was 3 days, I think.
3 days, okay.
Well, actually, I guess it was technically 4 days. It started on a Sunday and ended on a Wednesday.
Any new songs come out from that circle? For you?
I don't know if there's a couple that maybe the girls can take and perform that were more for them, and then there were a couple that were more for me, and then there's one called Abilene that I wrote with a really amazing young songwriter named Gloria Anderson. And that could be a duet. We played it for Liz Rose and Lori McKenna.
Okay.
And they both kind of immediately thought that it would be cool as a duet. Because Gloria was singing with me, and it sounded great. I love that song. That was mostly a Gloria song. I would say that was like 75-25.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you don't have any hesitancy going into these competitions. I would call what you just did a competition, since there's a finalist, right?
Yeah. A winner.
There was what were the qualifications for the winner? Was there a set guideline of?
No.
It's just a group of people were like, that's
the person. Yeah. What they said at the end was kind of like, this is so that competition specifically was leaned a little bit towards being somewhat willing and able to spend some time in Nashville. I think that was kind of inferred, because it was more of a songwriting competition than an artist competition.
Okay.
Some of the people that were in the competition were not artists in the sense that they don't go out and perform a bunch. They want to be just behind the scenes, like workaday songwriters. So it was very much a songwriting competition, and it leaned very country. So the girl that won embodied all of the best traits of a Nashville songwriter, and she does go out and perform sometimes in Nashville, but she was by far I wrote with her. She was one of the people that I wrote with. Her name is Abby Kabler, and she was by far the most malleable. Might not be quite the right word, but every song you heard that she had a co-write on, you could hear her thumbprint on the song, but she was also so good at working with the other person that she was extremely good at collaboration. But you always heard the Abby Kabler personality, which I think is the sign of a truly great songwriter. She has a lot of humor in her lyrics, and not every song, but she has a great sense of humor, and that really comes through in a lot of the tunes that she writes.
I feel like with that, you kind of have to let go of your own ego and just let the art bloom, right?
Yeah.
I would find that hard to do.
It's really fun. It's really fun if it's the right person. It's weird if it's not, and you can kind of tell when it's not. but then you've already got 2 hours set aside that you have to kind of bang something out. And, you know, there's either chemistry or there isn't.
How do you let go of your ego? I mean, from my perspective, everything that I do, I have a little bit of an ego to it because, one, I want people to see that piece of art, that piece of video, that photo, and then my hopes is that I get hired for another job because I'm so invested in what I do. Like, I'm very proud of some of the stuff I do. I want people to see that piece of art, and then I want them to hire me. But I know that's not always the case.
Yeah.
So how do you balance your ego when you are creating your music? Like, for your instance, like, you want your music to get you more jobs, right? More bookings. But how do you manage that and not take a hit to your ego? Or maybe it does hit your ego.
It's a major hit to your ego. I mean, for me, for example, having sent countless emails over the last 2 years and never really getting any responses from venues, like it starts to make you think, well, there's some sort of disconnect or space between what you're doing and what they're wanting.
Right.
So that, of course, like that's part of what ended me up in the hospital. It's like, I'm trying so hard for you guys to understand this music and just to just like this music, and it just doesn't seem to be working. And
then I had another guest on here, Madison Wickman. He owns THC Provisions, and he's also producing THC, edibles and stuff. He introduced me to the War of Art.
Oh yeah,
are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Book? And there's this line in there that just kind of haunts me, but I respect it. It's like the artist is going to be miserable, and you kind of have to embrace that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I see other people getting jobs that I feel qualified for, I just lie in that misery, and it kind of, in a weird way, fuels me to, okay, on the next job, you're going to do 10x more. You're going to put way more energy into that. And then maybe something will come from that. But till that point, you're just going to embrace misery. And that's all you have to do, Ramon. Just embrace it.
I don't know if I exactly agree with embracing the misery, because I don't want to live in misery. I don't know if that's what you're saying.
And what I'm trying to say is misery from an artistic standpoint. Everything else, I'm totally happy with. I'm totally fine. But yeah, it's just the art itself. It's fucking miserable. And and there's a part of me that's like, yeah, this is the only thing you need to do, Ramon. So, I mean, just embrace it.
Yeah. Creating to me, the act of creating is not miserable at all. It is,
for me, it is.
For the most part, it's not. When it's going well, I mean, I guess everybody hits writer's block, or for you in an editing in the middle of some sort of complicated edit. I can see just editing what little I've done drives me crazy, because there are just like a million different possibilities. That's a road to misery.
Yeah.
But actually sitting down and writing a song is generally pretty cathartic and enriching.
Yeah.
It's all, what's miserable is all of the other bullshit. Every single other thing. That's just like, that's the struggling artist's sort of cliche sentence.
Yeah.
Is that, you have to wear so many hats that it's a total slog, and it sucks. And I hate it.
I'm finding a balance between hate and loving it. Right now I'm in, that miserable point where nothing feels good, nothing feels authentic. It feels forced. I don't know. I go into these, these valleys ever so often, and I think the only way that I've ever gotten myself out is just grind it out and enjoy and embrace the misery. But it just, I don't know. It's a fight that I didn't know I would have to fight. Even though I am miserable, I always think to myself, well, at least you're miserable at your own costs and not because of a boss, not because of a you know, a full-time job. So I think about that. I'm like, all right, you know, things could be worse.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think for me, perspectives change as you get older.
Yeah.
And having a kid has changed my perspective even more. Like like your friend had said, having all of your free time taken away means having a lot of your creative time taken away. Mm-hmm. So I haven't really had much chance in the last year and a half to do much creatively. Luckily, I have an entire album done.
Yeah.
That we did record right after she was born, but I had the songs written. If there are 11 songs, I think I had 7 or 8 of them written before she was born, and then I wrote. It was supposed to be an EP, and then I and Brian Douglas Phillips, the producer of the record at BDP, liked the direction so much that I decided we should make this into an album, not an EP, and so I had to write some more songs.
So when you wrote those new songs, was Isla already born? Or,
yeah.
Okay. Were any of those songs influenced by that part of your life?
Yeah, one of them was Falling and Flying. Yeah, that one. Her nickname, one of her many nicknames, is Pisadora, and there's.
I didn't. Okay.
Yeah, so there's a line in there that says, "Now I know what true love means," and her name is Pisadora.
Oh man. Well, now when I hear that song, that's just gonna hit me right in the old.
Feels. And the whole thing's not about her, but that I actually have I have a video ready. I've made one already about American Sunset, another song on the record, but I'm making these sort of how-to videos about the songs, and starting with the demos, these phone demos that I make, and then so the original title of that song was going to be...
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, that's such a good video and such a good idea.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's kind of like Song Exploder, if you've ever listened to that podcast.
I haven't, but...
It's actually almost exactly like Song Exploder, except that I'm not getting interviewed by anybody. I'm just spouting into the camera.
That's great.
But that was what I wanted to show people the creative process, or at least my creative process, because I find it fascinating when I hear how other people have come up with songs. So in Falling and Flying, the video that I made, I explained that it was originally called Me. So it's Falling and Flying with You, but what originally came out of my mouth when I was just messing around was Me and the Dumpling and You. So it was gonna be a song about me and this new little life that we'd created, and then my wife, but I decided that was to go in a different direction.
What made you want to write this whole album? What was the inspiration behind this album?
There's no clear through line. I wrote the songs. Some of them are like 4 or 5 years old, and then some of them are less than a year old. So, the sonic through line is an homage to like the was
it inspired because of Bruce Springsteen?
Not Bruce Springsteen.
No.
Bruce Hornsby more. Bruce Hornsby, like Every Little Kiss, or Valley Road, or Don Henley, Voice of Summer. Our touchstone was End of the Innocence, the Don Henley song that Bruce Hornsby co-wrote, and then a little bit of Steve Winwood in there. But that era of 80s solo artists, that was where we were coming from. So there's some drum machines on the record, and a lot of synths that weren't on the first record. The first record's more or less an Americana album. And
Southern Spheres?
Southern Spheres, yeah. And then this new one's going to be called Life of the Chosen One.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know you settled on a name yet. Okay,
yeah.
Awesome. Now, what was it like working with Brian Douglas, BDP? Brian Douglas Phillips.
Brian Douglas Phillips. Have you had him in here?
Not yet. I'm going to reach out to him. There's another engineer that I've been wanting to reach out to, and those two knuckleheads down at Studio 601
Oh
are
yeah.
so busy that they don't even answer my phone call.
Yeah, you might have
anymore.
to go to them.
I know, right?
They have microphones up there
They do.
or
They do.
down here.
I would, hope so, since they're so reputable and work with so many artists.
Yeah,
They would
it's hard to
be-
record an album when you don't have any microphones.
Yeah, they're using iPhone. They're using their iPhones now.
Oh, really?
That's where they're at. Yeah.
That's a
So-
sound. That's a vibe.
Anyways, what's
Brian?
it like working with Brian?
So Brian and I have done 2 records together now.
No big deal.
And the first record, it took me, I think the whole album to kind of figure out that he liked me. I couldn't. He's a very hard guy to get a read on until you figure out the way he communicates, and then he's the best. And now we're really, really, really good friends. And I had it's really, Brian and I come from very similar backgrounds. We are almost the same age. We listened to almost not the exact same music growing up, but we had so much shorthand that it was really easy for us to settle on sonic ideas together, because we could say, well, like, remember that Counting Crows song, or remember that Bruce Hornsby song. That was something that I had no idea he had such a love for, was that era of tenors. There are all these guys that can, that have a similar voice range to me. And so that was his idea, he said he'd always wanted to make a record that's kind of like the tenors of the 80s. And I was like, holy shit, man. That was what I grew up on. The End of the Innocence record was one of my major sort of pivotal early records.
How excited were you? Did it just give you that tingly feeling like, oh my God, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I walked in wanting to make an REM album with a bunch of jangly 12-string guitars, and I wanted to make it sound really live, and I had a bunch of ideas that the minute he said, I want to make a record like Into the Innocence, and I immediately threw all my ideas away, and it was like, yes, let's do that. That's how, when I work at home and make home demos, that's usually how I end up quote unquote producing them out, is with a lot of synth and drum machine. Mm-hmm. And I'm always thinking of, that's just naturally where my ear goes.
Yeah.
So it was a lot easier actually to make this album than the first album, because in my mind, the first album I had already produced at home as a Don Henley, Bruce Hornsby kind of record, and then now we're kind of reconstructing them as Americana songs. It's funny how you can write a song and just depending on it, what kind of instruments you put on it, or what tempo you play it at, it can be a million different genres.
I mean, I'm excited for this fully. When is it going to be fully released?
So it's May now. I've released 4 singles. No. Yeah, 4. And a 5th one comes out Friday. Friday. So I'm releasing a single a month. And there are 11 songs. So the last song will come out. And then the last song will be the title track.
Okay.
And that will be when the album comes out as well. So November.
I'm excited to see, because I feel like there is I don't know, we're always reverting back to not 80s, but a nostalgia for I guess not market, but I'm seeing more and more party in the front mullets.
Yeah.
I'm seeing these vapor eyewears that are very reminiscent of the 80s. It's just my wife buys old clothes from the 80s, 90s. I'm like, why is everyone reverting back to this time?
For us, it's a cash grab.
Yeah.
For us, it's all about just kind of cashing in on the moment. We saw a couple dudes with mustaches and mullets, and we were like, we need to make an album that sounds like the 80s.
Right.
So I said that it was kind of inspired by Don Henley and Bruce Hornsby and all that, but it really is inspired by money.
Yeah. Okay. all the 80s references are now escaping me. I even thought of like who's the guy who made all the famous 80s movies, Breakfast Club.
John Hughes.
Yeah. I wish I would have name dropped him, but no. There's a lot of good movies that came out of the 80s that are very nostalgic and make you feel good.
Mhm.
And I was trying to make a tie into your music about how it just makes you feel good. And now I'm just talking to.
Well, that makes me feel good. Thank you.
Yeah.
From what I've been told from people who listen to my music, there's a strong through line of nostalgia. That's, I think, where I live most of the time is in that sort of bittersweet. There's like a longing for the past.
Yeah.
That carries through in a lot of my songs.
Like it was Ed Helms who said it in The Office. I wish I knew we were in the good times before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't go that far because I don't want to say that the best years are behind me because I just refuse to believe that. I think that you can.
They're not. Yeah.
I mean, they're the best years are whenever you want. You know, I don't know. I think you can create good times, and still look back on times with a certain amount of love and longing, knowing that things will never be like that again. That's different than thinking that they were the best times that you ever had. But what does hurt, and also what makes you love those memories, is that you know that you'll never get them back.
Yeah, I got bummed out. I got super bummed out yesterday. We're supposed to go golfing on Memorial Day, and it just started raining on us right as soon as we were teeing off on hole 1.
Oh, that sucks.
And I was so excited to just play with these group of guys who I haven't seen in a while. I hadn't played with one guy in over, I don't know, like probably 4 or 5 months. Hadn't seen him in 6. I'm just like, man, it's going to be a good day. It was cloudy, overcast. And then it just started kind of, picking up on the rain. But after about, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes, it kind of surpassed, and we started having a good time again. And it was
nice.
fun. Yeah. But still, it just bummed me out. I'm like, I got so excited for this day. I was so excited to play with these guys, and this is the weather that we get. And
but you got to play?
We got to play.
That's good.
And it was fine. But then afterwards, we all had to leave to go, live our separate lives, and that's when I got super sad. I'm like, man, I want one more beer with these guys at the bench. That's maybe 2 more. But then you realize, they got their own lives, they got their own families, they got their girlfriends. So it is what it is, Ramon. You should have enjoyed it more, while you were golfing.
Yeah.
Here we are. So now it's just a learned lesson. Hey,
that's a good lesson.
Yeah.
Enjoy the moment. Live there. That's what I've been trying to do since I got out of the hospital.
Do you want to talk about The Voice? Is that okay to talk about?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. How did you get onto that show? How did you...
I auditioned. There's a friend of mine who owns a studio in town called Arlen Studios. You've been there. You shot the record release party there.
That was a fun time.
Her name is Lisa Fletcher, and she's like a second mom to me.
It's a very awesome space. I should have reached out. My brother-in-law was in town, and he is a musical historian. You and him could probably talk for hours just about the 80s music, because he's 52 and he grew up in that time. And
okay.
He has wall-to-wall just riddled with records.
Cool.
And I wanted to take him by Arlen, so I reached out to Eric to see if he knew anybody just to, do a walkthrough. Little did I know, I should have reached out to you. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Lesson learned. You're learning a lot.
Yeah, I am. This podcast could be super beneficial to me down the line.
So Lisa kept bothering me every year because she gets emails, because she's a studio owner. She gets emails every year from the producers of The Voice asking, do you know anybody in town that might want to skip the big cattle call? That year, the year that I had auditioned, it was in Austin. They don't always do them in Austin, but that year it was in Austin. So she would forward me the email every year, and every year I would say, no, I don't want to do that. That's a TV show, and it's beneath me. And because I'm an artist, and I sing in a band, and I don't need to be on TV. I'm happy waiting tables while I try to make my music work. So then I quit that band, and and
that was Nello?
That was Nello, yeah. And then I took like 3 years off and tried to learn. My father-in-law's in the restaurant business, and so is my wife. My wife works for him, and so I kind of got like said, okay, well, I'll just go learn the restaurant business a little bit and see if that's just my next step. The music thing didn't work out, and that was not a good fit for me. And so I was sort of treading water a little bit, and Lisa forwarded me another one of these emails, and it had been 2 or 3 years since I'd been in Nello, and I just decided, well, I'm not doing anything else that I am really enjoying. Like, why not? Let's just see where this journey takes me. So I auditioned here. I got to skip the big cattle call because of Lisa. And so we had an audition on a soundstage here in Austin. And then I got through that round, and then there was another round of like for the producers of the show that was out in Los Angeles.
Do you remember what songs you auditioned for?
Yeah. I thought that I had discovered this like really rare deep cut by Chris Stapleton called Tennessee Whiskey. And then I realized I literally heard it echoing through the halls of every single stage of the audition. I mean, it was the most popular audition song of the 2017 or whenever it was. So I felt like a total dumbass that I really thought, man, I just like,
man, this is good.
How did I stumble on
knock
this one?
Knock 'em dead.
Well, I mean, I just thought that it was I was being so original. I was just so out of touch that I didn't realize it was this very popular song. But that's what I auditioned with. Yeah, that, and then I think I did. There was a Hozier song that's in an Odd Time signature. Don't remember how it goes anymore. And then there's a James Bay song that I don't remember either, because I think after Tennessee Whiskey, they were like, okay, thanks, we've got what we need.
Yeah.
Which pretty much just means, thanks, you crushed.
Right. Well, that's good. So when you were performing these songs, and this is kind of getting in the weeds, but do they extract the vocal? Like they remove that lead vocal stem? Or do they keep it in? Like, so when you're performing, are you doing an a cappella?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, actually, you know what? No, we were singing the tracks.
Okay. So, but is Chris Stapleton, is that audio track still in, like his vocal part?
No, it's a karaoke track.
Okay. That's what I was trying to.
Yeah, you bring your own karaoke track.
Do you
find it on the internet.
Oh, do you bring your own machine too?
Yeah, your little machine. You push the drums. Don't chick.
So you move on to the next phase. Is that in L.A.?
The next phase was in front of the producers in L.A.
Did they fly you out?
Put you up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you feel special.
What kind of food did you eat? Remember?
There was a City Grill. No, is that what's called? City Grill?
I have no idea.
Capitol Grill.
Yeah.
There was
franchise.
one in the hotel.
Oh, okay. All right.
And so I ate that. It was way too expensive, but that was they wouldn't let us out of the hotel, so that was kind of what everybody had to eat unless
way
you
too
ordered
expensive. So did they make you pay for your own meal?
They gave that. I think maybe the per diem started then. They would give you $50 a day.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, they put you up for that, and then you sing to the producers. Same kind of setup, just very quiet room, soundstage. Got through that round, and then that was all in the summer of 2017, and then I came back for a month, and that was when we did. So the first round is 100 people, give or take, and you're all at the same hotel. We were at the Hilton, I think, in Burbank, or the Hyatt, or one of them, and so they have so many people to like shoot B-roll on and to like put together packages for, that, you know, you're there for a month and you probably do 6 hours worth of work, and the rest of the time you're just sitting around watching movies and getting to know each other. So that was, and then you audition, like do the actual, you know, the one where the chairs turn, and then after that you just keep going until they ask you to stop.
Until you're voted off.
Until you're excused.
Voted off.
Yeah, my friend says excused.
Who are your judges?
The judges my year were Alicia Keys,
okay,
Blake Shelton, Kelly Clarkson. It was her first year, and Adam Levine.
Okay. Did you get to chat with them afterwards, or
no?
Nothing. Did they give you any tips, any advice?
No.
Shit, this show sucks.
Yeah.
God.
No, I guess it's kind of judge dependent, but my coach dependent. My coach was Adam Levine, and he was very busy.
Hold on. He's not a coach. If he's not sharing any, like, that's misinformation to the highest degree.
Yeah, it's a little bit of TV trickery. I mean, whatever you see on TV, there is them coaching us a little bit. So in that sense, he did coach us. There was one off-camera audition that he was at, and I don't really remember. The main thing he did was change my song, which I think was one of the reasons that I got voted off when I did. So I don't have much to thank him for.
He bamboozled you.
I don't know. I think he had my best interest at heart, but he changed. You know what? It was. It could have been the right move. I was going to sing Sheryl Crow's my favorite mistake.
Okay.
And which I thought was kind of cool, like a guy singing that song instead of a girl. But he didn't. We played through it once, and he didn't say he didn't like it. He just said, "Have you ever heard that song?" It's by I don't even remember what it is.
Come on, as I deem you the musical historian.
Well, it's I just don't want there to. You can edit the pause out as I think. It's by the band that sang Carrie Ann, which is a band that I should really know because Graham Nash was in it. Oh my God. Well, anyways,
work through it. Come on, you got it. We're not leaving here until you name the band. If you have to Google
the
it,
Hollies.
Okay.
So the Hollies had the song Saturday night I was downtown working for the FBI. Huh?
Is that cat hair on you?
No, it was a spider.
Oh no. All right. Well, I guess my wife's right. We got to fumigate this spot.
It's okay. Our house is getting not fumigated, but pesticided right now.
Okay.
So he was like, "Have you ever heard this song by the Hollies called I don't remember the name of the song, but it goes like Saturday night I was downtown working for the FBI. Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress. That's the name of the song.
Okay.
So I was like, yes,
out.
I've heard that. And he said, have you ever heard the lead singer of Train sing it? And I was like, no. And he said, well, it sounded really good. He did it at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when the Hollies got inducted. And I was like, okay, are you just saying that you want me to do that song instead of the song that I've been practicing all summer? And he said, yeah, I want you to do that song instead. So I was like, okay, we can roll with that. And then the producers were like, Adam, we don't even know if we have the rights to that song. We have to clear these things. And he said, yeah, we'll figure it out. And then he disappeared in like a poof of purple. No, it wouldn't be purple. It would be pink smoke. And
I knew I hated Maroon 5 for a reason.
I actually loved
You do?
Maroon. I did in college. I loved their first record, and then things have changed. But their first record I really, really liked. And I will say he was very nice when he was around.
Okay.
He was by no means an asshole.
I know.
Everybody to a man was very, very nice on the TV show.
Okay, that's good to know.
I had a very good experience. It was so much fun. It was even more fun for my family because they flew out to every taping and had a party in Los Angeles while I was like locked up in my hotel room.
Just trying to work on your career here, no big deal. I mean,
well, they wouldn't let us out too. Like even if I wanted to go out, they wouldn't let us out.
Man, they held you hostage?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I think, it's for legal reasons. They can't just let you have free run of Los Angeles.
Yeah. Did they take your cell phone?
No. They didn't. They were cool like that.
And then you got let go.
Uh-huh.
And so what did you take from all of that?
Laid off.
You got cut.
My biggest takeaway was that that music. I wasn't done with music. And that was what led me into songwriting, and I've made an EP and two records now. So, and they were all my songs. So, with the exception of I guess a couple co-writes, I wrote them all by myself, by my lonesome. So I have the voice to thank for that.
And you think after 7 years, you're still a new songwriter?
Yeah,
Really?
maybe.
I think you've moved on to veteran status.
You think so? Okay. Yeah, I just feel like I always feel like I'm behind. I feel like
I think that's with any artiste. Like your work is never good enough. It's never. You can always put in 10 more hours, but I don't know. Yeah, I think that just every artist, including myself, is just you never feel good enough.
I feel like a songwriter, like a veteran songwriter is someone who started writing songs when they were like 8, and not 36.
Like
but
Connor Oberst, I think he was writing his songs when he was like 14, 15. He's
the
lead singer to
that
Bright
kind
Eyes.
of that guy.
You know, he's from Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah.
We were there a couple weekends ago, and I'm like, I love 311. I was really excited to be in, where they're from. And then I was looking up other artists from that area, and it was, Connor Oberst. Interesting.
Yeah, he has a club there that's really cool.
Really?
Like a music venue.
Oh,
that's
shit,
really
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of my best friends lives in Omaha now, so I usually just go to his house and then we order in and stay. He has a really nice house, so there's really no reason to leave. So I don't know much about Omaha.
Okay.
But I do know that Connor Oberst has a pretty cool music venue there.
Ah, shit. I wish I would have knew that. I checked it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went from, do you know Vincent Antone? He is associated with Zach Morgan, DJ, guitarist guy.
Mm-mm.
Anyways, he's been taking me on tour. No big deal.
Oh, yeah.
On the weekends. I don't really call it a tour because I think of a tour like you're on the bus from Monday to whatever, Saturday. You're just living together.
I agree.
He's just taking me on the weekends with him to his shows. And so that particular weekend, we did Omaha. The next night was like a bush party out in Arkansas. That was a blast. Got familiar with they're called wooks. So they're like hippie into EDM stuff.
Yeah.
That was a good time. They were all super nice and friendly. And then after that, we went to Kansas City. So that was like a pretty extensive tour weekend. And man, all I could think of was it was minimal sleep. And I'm like, this is what it's like to be a father. At least at the age of, when early on, when you have minimal sleep and you're just trying to get through, and you do find those energy surplus storage in your body somewhere, and you're like, oh, I'm back.
Yeah.
The 15-minute naps definitely helped out.
Yeah. Naps are crucial.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also how it is to be on tour when you're at that level. I mean, I don't know what level that guy is at. Vincent Antone?
The thing is, he's like during the week he's going to his own shows, and then I'll join him, for the weekend stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's been doing it for a long time now. 4 years, I think.
4?
Yeah. Of just hustling.
Right on.
Yeah. So he's a good dude.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's been fun.
That's cool. Yeah, I knew that you were doing that.
And he doesn't eat, though. That's a big problem with me. I like to eat. I like my food.
He doesn't eat?
He doesn't eat at the appropriate times. He'll eat like at 3 a.m. after a show, and I'm just like dying, ready to go to bed.
So you can eat.
I can eat whenever.
Yeah, he doesn't make you eat when
No,
he
he
eats.
doesn't. No, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to pay for the food, so I want to jump on your ticket. So when are you going to eat? Oh, 3:30? Nah, it's all right. I'll just go to bed.
Yeah.
Eat the buffet in the morning.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to eat.
How long have you been doing that?
Since early March.
Every weekend?
I think this past weekend was the first time off. I think we had a week. There's been 2 weekends off. So now we're kind of towards the end of it. This weekend's San Jose. Next is Vegas. And then we finish in my favorite city, Seattle.
What is the end goal for you?
For me?
Yeah.
Exposure. Get paid in exposure.
Yeah, but what are you making?
I'm making, so what I told him is we'll do the Instagram recap stuff, but I told him I want to make a documentary about whatever this is. So now I have all the concert footage. I'm picking up tidbits about who he is, his personality traits and stuff like that. So now we'll come back and we'll interview, other musicians, him, of course, his family members, and just make it about, I guess, him. I don't have a script, so I have no idea what I'm going to make, but I have some sort of idea. It is going to be about him, obviously, but just like we'll talk about traveling, we'll talk about his music, we'll talk about the reason why, we'll talk about his sobriety and all that stuff. So I'm really excited to get on that because the Instagram stuff, that's cool, but I don't know. There's not a lot of longevity in that. Like creating a documentary is a piece of art that's going to outlive him essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really excited about that opportunity. And then we'll see what else comes of it. Maybe work with more artists, hopefully work with more artists and develop more documentaries.
Cool.
I think documentaries is where I want to live for the future.
Right on.
Yeah. I think we need more authentic people telling better authentic stories because there's a lot of shit out there. And I don't like what I'm seeing. Reid, someone change that.
Do it, Ramon. You got this.
A few more questions.
You can ask me as many questions as you want. I have nowhere to be today.
Me neither. We're already over an hour, so just a few more. I like to keep things under at least an hour 30 here. But yeah, time always flies on this podcast because it's just I'm having such a good time. I'm learning so much about you. But I want to know, what are you Uber eating these days?
Oh. There's a place called El Dorado Cafe that's kind of close to our house.
Okay.
And we don't Uber eat that, but I go pick it up all the time.
Okay.
We haven't done that in a while because they're closed on Sundays and Mondays. And Joel, if you're listening, I know you're trying to do good by your employees, but it crushes our souls when we want some Mexican food on a Sunday night.
Who do they think they are? Fucking Chick-fil-A?
I know.
Like, there's only one restaurant that does that.
And Chick-fil-A only does it one day a week.
Yeah.
I mean, he really cares about his employees.
Good
and wants them to have a solid 2 days off a week. I think it's nuts because he could be making... I mean, this place is always so busy, and the money he's leaving on the table is crazy. But we have talked to him extensively, not necessarily like specifically about this, but I know that he's doing it for his employees, which is great, and he has a great heart. So more power to him. But yeah, we pick up El Dorado a lot.
It's like the only time you want Chick-fil-A is
I know when you're hungover on a Sunday.
Yes, yeah. Thankfully, you don't have to go through those emotions again. Being hungover now is a two-part thing. One, it hurts. Two, I am so depressed the next day. It takes me like 3 days to mentally recover from a good time with the boys because that's when I usually get hungover. But man, so good for you for not doing that and being responsible.
I did not miss the hangovers. The hangovers are a major part of why I stopped. And I don't know, maybe if you see me out with a beer, don't call me a liar. I'm not saying that I have quit forever, but it's been about 4 months.
Man, good for you.
I quit once.
Dude, like you just lost some... everyone keeps telling me, if you just stop drinking, you're going to lose a lot of weight. I'm like, but I like beer.
Yeah,
I like
that's okay. You can like beer. There's it just... For me, the hangovers with a young kid weren't working.
I can't even fathom that.
Well, you just
Holy
like
shit.
You're absent.
Yeah.
There's so much that you want to remember and want to be an active part of at every stage, I'm sure, of your kid's life, but especially when they're developing that quickly, there's just so much that you want to take in. Yeah. And when you're hungover, you're just shut off.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure changing a diaper hungover is not
the best. So yeah, that's you know what we do? We favor what the fuck is that place called?
Taco Bell. I'm guilty as charged when it comes to the Taco Bell chicken nugs.
The chicken nuggets?
The chicken nugs, man.
That's surprising.
My wife showed me like an Instagram video that they're bringing them back, and then I go, all right, I'll give them a shot, and I went and got them. And now it's just like I have to fight myself from ordering them every single night, especially late at night when I come home from a show. I'm just like,
chicken nuggets sound really good. I haven't eaten lunch. I don't know what chicken nuggets sound good. Fresas, that's the place. Have you ever had that before?
No, I have not.
It's great. It's
Okay.
rotisserie chicken. Well, I guess it's rotisserie chicken, but they're prepared several different ways, and it's all I think it's Mexican style rotisserie chicken.
Yeah.
And then they have great rice and beans. They have great queso. They have other stuff too, empanadas that are really good. But that's what we favor that. There's one that's kind of close to our house.
Where would you rank Fresas queso and Torchy's? Who comes out on top?
They're kind of similar.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't had Torchy's in so long that I don't feel like I'm a good judge. I really don't want to tell you the answer.
I've not frequented Torchy's because ever since they franchised out, it's like the quality of tacos have gone down. I just don't know what type of service I'm going to get anytime I go.
Agreed.
So it's like, yeah, it's been a minute, but I am really interested in trying Fresas. So
yeah, try
that's on my
Fresas.
list.
You'll like it. You feel like you're kind of being healthy because it's just chicken.
Yeah.
Unless you get something else. But then the queso is great, and they have these bean and cheese empanadas that are really good. Are they empanadas?
Empanadas, yeah.
There's no like wavy thing.
I wouldn't know. I just know how to say it.
Empanadas.
Yeah.
Or empanadas.
I'm illiterate when it comes to Spanish and English sometimes.
Really?
I
don't know, but they're good. And they have good Brussels sprouts, and they have good corn.
Oh, okay. Like street corn?
Yeah.
Okay. Last question here. At what age are you going to show your daughter some of the movie classics like Superbad, Tropic Thunder, 40-Year-Old Virgin, or are you even going to show them that? Or are you going to let them discover it on yourself?
That's a good question. I would say...
Because I asked my wife this, and I'm like, yeah, we could show them probably like 10 or 11. And she goes, are you stupid, Ramon? That's way too young. I'm like, but what do you mean? And then I rewatched it. I'm like, yeah,
there's a lot to explain to a 10 or 11-year-old.
Yeah, maybe you're right, Lauren. Maybe we'll do it at, I don't know, 13 or 14.
So you guys are talking kids.
We're talking. We're in negotiations.
Yeah.
The one thing that is holding me back is my job. It's not like the income is always fluctuating.
Yeah.
And it's just hard for me to wrap my head around. Like I to be able to provide for another human being. I could provide for myself. I could live off beans and rice, but obviously children need hospitals and medicine and all that stuff, and that becomes very expensive. And another thing that is holding me back is we just got companion pass from Southwest, so I want to do all the traveling first before we. Yeah. So she's coming with me to all these shows.
Oh, cool.
And that'll be great. But then we got it till 2026, the end of 2026.
Uh-huh.
So basically, Lauren flies with me free wherever I go.
Yeah.
So I want to utilize that.
Well, those are both great reasons to hold off for a little while.
So we're going to hold off for a little bit longer. And yeah.
But let me answer your question.
Yes, please.
I think violence, all the movies that you rattled off, it's more like either drug use or sex.
Crude humor, yeah.
Crude humor. And then violence is a different category.
Tropic Thunder, there is violence, but it's more like, I don't know if slapstick is the right word, but it's just...
It's like almost cartoonish.
Yeah, there you go.
The first age that came to mind was 13, 12 or 13. My parents wouldn't let me watch anything, and I snuck it anyways.
Was Simpsons Band?
Simpsons Band.
Of all the shows,
Simpsons
I watch it
Band.
now. I'm like, that was just such... That was an honest American family growing up.
I know, but they didn't want me to get any ideas from Bart. Bart was such an asshole.
He was.
He is still. So I don't want to do that to my kid because, I found ways to. I was and still am more into movies than I am into music.
Okay.
I went to school for radio, television, film. That's like kind of the undergrad film school at UT.
RTF.
RTF. And then I wanted to go to film school, but then the band thing kind of started becoming more of the thing that I was going to do.
Yeah.
But I found ways to watch. So, there's really no age because if she wants to watch something, she'll go to somebody else's house whose parents will let them watch that kind of shit.
Cool parents.
Yeah.
oh, you can drink here. You just have to spend the night.
Uh-huh.
I remember those families.
But I would say, I can't wait. What I'm looking forward to is sitting down when she's like 6, 7 and going through Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, Star Wars, Goonies.
Oh, man.
All of those movies. That's really what that's what I've been thinking of the most when I think of movies.
Yeah, Never Ending Story.
Never Ending Story. I don't know, man. That's a tough one.
Is it? Why?
It's so sad.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Atreyu and his horse.
Yeah. That, oh my God, yeah, you're
That
right.
is completely like traumatizing.
That's probably why I have to go to therapy.
Yeah, one of the reasons for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what I've been thinking of mostly for movies. I can't wait. Like Jurassic Park. I mean that all that whole level of adventure movies from the 90s.
Yeah.
I can't wait for her. Hopefully she likes them as much as I do, and if so,
Well, you got to get them started early. Just sneak it in.
Indoctrinate.
Just plop them down in front of the TV as they are right now, and they'll absorb it.
We tried that a couple nights ago with Moana.
Okay.
We were just trying to get her to shut up.
She's all crying and stuff.
And crying.
Oh my God, you have it so hard.
Use your words, you 18-month-old. So she loves this. You don't know who Miss Rachel is because you don't have kids, but Miss Rachel is she's probably like the 5th most famous person in the United States. And she started a YouTube channel, and now she's on Netflix. She probably has $100 million deal with Netflix, but she's
good for her.
She's just kind of like, no, she is a smart person who is doing things the right way. These shows aren't like overly flashy or edited super quickly. Like she's, I think, trying her best to make educational TV. But that's all that Isla likes to watch is Miss Rachel. And it's the same songs over and over. And so we tried to get her to watch Moana, and she's just not there yet. And so, I don't know. I mean, it was like 15 seconds in. She couldn't even get through the credits, and she was just like, And she calls Miss Rachel Hop Hop, because the first song that she sings is Hop Little Bunnies Hop Hop Hop, which is a song that you've never heard. But if you have a kid, it'll be the only song that lives in your nightmares for like years of your life. But she calls the show Hop Hop because of this stupid song. It's not stupid. I'm trying not to be negative about.
It's fine. No, you could be negative. It's okay.
It's an annoying song.
We'll all find things that are stupid, and
Miss Rachel is doing her best, and I'm proud of her. And she started from a really good place, which was just that she had a son who was having language development problems, and she wanted to not only teach him how to speak, but also make a show that taught other kids who were having developmental issues how to speak. And that's where it all started. And now we're here with the Rainbow song and the Hop Hop, and it's a whole mess, man.
And it's driving me fucking insane.
Yeah, it's driving me crazy.
The Mormon dating show on Netflix.
Oh,
now.
yeah, Jenna loves that show.
Jesus fucking Christ. I can't stand it. I will walk by the living room and see my wife have it on. I'll give it like 2 seconds of my attention, then I immediately become just angered.
Yeah, me too.
Just upset. And I'm not going to belittle my wife into why she shouldn't watch this, because she has a very stressful job. So this is her way of mitigating that stress. But my God, if I could just punch a TV, I would.
I know.
It's so infuriating.
Jenna loves all that Bravo stuff. Actually, her cousin does a really funny podcast that is very successful. It's usually in like the top 5
wow.
and on iTunes.
Okay.
Under the movie or arts and entertainment subcategory. But they recap all of the Bravo shows. It's called Watch What Crappens, and it's fucking hilarious.
Again, I don't hate the hustle. That's a good idea. But
he has worked his ass off.
Yeah.
He and his partner, his podcast partner, his name's Ben. Jenna's cousin's name is Ronnie, and they have been doing this podcast for like I think 10 or 11 years now.
Okay, good. All right, they put in the legwork.
They've put in a lot of legwork.
All right, that makes me feel a little bit better.
Dude, there's just been this huge grassroots movement. Now they do tours all over the country.
Oh,
thousands of
living
people
the
come.
life.
Yeah. So they've done it.
Okay. What I was going to get at is like if they just created this podcast based off of like a show and then all of a sudden it pops off, like I don't.
That's frustrating.
That is very frustrating. But if you put in 10 to 12 years, yeah, you definitely deserve everything that you get, regardless of what you guys are talking about. So
yeah, they started from the
them.
bottom, and they just were good at their jobs, and now they're really, really popular.
Good for them.
I wish that's how it worked out for everybody, Ramon.
I know, but it's not. And that's what's the saying? If butts and nuts were Christmas, then that'd be Christmas every morning. What's the saying?
What?
If candies and nuts,
if ifs and buts
were candies and nuts,
it would be Christmas every
there
morning.
There you go. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Thank you for the assist there.
Butts and nuts.
Butts and nuts. It was. I don't know.
That's like
hey, man,
it's very
don't look at my internet
sexually innuendo-y.
Oh man.
Ask me some more questions.
How do you feel about buying a $400 cell phone that I have to go do right now after this?
It's a necessity.
It sucks.
Did they just break?
No, it just won't charge. I've tried different cords, and like I think to my wife's point, I should probably get a case because it's seen better days.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
dude, it still has the only two cameras.
Yeah. So,
dude, for a guy, I know you shoot on much higher end equipment, but
don't get me started on this.
I know. I shouldn't have opened up. My mother-in-law is a photographer and has a lot to say.
Good.
Well.
Shoot. Hopefully it's along the same sentiments as I'm putting
sure
out right
now. It's the
now.
way that I can look at your body language changed. I can tell that y'all are on the same page.
Again, I do feel that this is a new tool that we have in our lives. And right now it's causing chaos and we don't know how to use it. But somewhere down the line, I have hope and belief that this will be a proper tool for us and making humanity a better place. But for right now, it fucking sucks.
Yeah, I really don't like them. I love them for actually. My favorite thing to do on them is take videos and pictures.
There you go. Yeah.
But I've also tried to stay off social media.
That's
which
good too.
Were we talking about? Oh, this is fun. This is ironic. I can't remember it because were we talking about attention span?
No.
Yeah. See, my attention span. That's not, but it has grown so much since I quit the Instagram.
Awesome.
I'm back on Instagram.
I think you have to be on it. It is, like I said, that's a tool that I think artists need it. They have to play the game, but only in small doses. Do your thing, interact with your community, and then be done with it.
Interact with the community and be done with it, because the comparison game that you start to play.
Holy shit, brother!
It will take you down.
It's definitely it's debilitating. It makes you feel terrible. But again, I've learned to just not compare myself to others because it's a thief of joy. So why should I do that? What I really appreciate from it is that I get to see like my friends' kids growing up. I get to see the cool stuff that they're doing.
Oh yeah.
And that's fun. I appreciate that. But then again, there's a lot of nonsense on there. And since I'm on there, I want to try to do my part to just change it a little bit. That's why I love doing these podcasts, is because I can put it out there and maybe someone who's in your boat, who's a singer-songwriter, who's, going through problems, can hear your story and be like, all right, yeah, he's doing good for himself. He's being a good father. He's running a successful music career. It's like, hey, shit, I could do that too. Yeah,
good luck.
I'll give you my shoes so you can walk in them.
Yeah.
You can't give them back to me.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, it's cool. I'm really proud of this record. That's really the main thing right now. I think I'm in record release mode, and then hopefully once the record gets out, I'll feel more creatively inclined again and want to write some more, and maybe make another record after that.
And you got to put on a live show somewhere. Shit.
Yeah.
Even in your front yard.
I know. That's where I am now. I'm thinking about alternatives.
Yeah.
But there will be a record release show. That's for sure. Y'all can, whoever's listening to this that cares, I will definitely find a way to make a record release show happen either in November or December. So y'all have some time to get babysitters and plan for that.
Grayson cares. He's a viewer of the show and podcast.
Yeah. Has he been on?
He has. And he was on in the first rendition of this space. It was just 2 shitty lawn chairs and a rug, and that was it. There's nothing of this. So, I was really thankful that he came on. And I'm thankful that you came on because it means a lot to me that you guys take your time out of your... I know you say you're not doing anything, but, you could be doing something else, yet you chose to come here and have a good conversation with me.
Yeah, man. So, I really like you a lot.
I like you a lot, too.
And you are really talented, and you are one of the hardest working people I know. So I was glad to come down.
Yeah, well, it's out of... you've said that to me pretty much every time you talk to me, and I'm like, I don't feel like it's, well, I guess it is hard work since I'm saying everything's miserable. But it's like, I think I owe it to my family and my wife because they work hard jobs and they've been through hell. And it's like, this is my life that I've chosen. So why not put every, ounce of energy into it, and hopefully something cool will happen. And it already has happened. Yeah, man. You've met so many cool people, and you've created such great content for so many local artists. Like, you have made a name for yourself in the short time that I've known you. And like, the workload has increased, hopefully for good, for better or for worse. It's a balance. Yeah. Yeah, it's a balance. Yeah, I'm very appreciative of you and what you do for me and for the people that I know that have been offended from your content. Oh, well, I'm proud to serve you guys. And, all tides raises all boats. Yeah. Is that proper? All right, I got it. High tide raises all ships. That's good. That's one way to say it. Yeah. All right, dude. Anything else? What is it? Is it raising tide? Rising tide ships all raises all. Some kind of tide raises all ships. And the boats elevate and they make currency somehow. I don't know. They just get out there and do their thing. They're not sinking. Yeah. So to plug. Oh yes, please. Plug that's what you were about to ask me to do, right? Yeah. So one single a month, usually, or like the last Friday of the month. Although my most successful release was on a Wednesday, so maybe I'll just start doing Wednesdays. No one cares about what day of the week the song comes out. I don't know why people put. So, anyways, I don't. Was that an analytical thing that you saw? Like, oh shit, this song did so much better on a Wednesday, on Hump Day. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, it could have been an anomaly because I've only done it once. But when does this come out? I think probably like 2 to 3 days. 2 to 3 days? Yeah, I'm done with my editing backlog. So this might come out on the day that my new single comes out? Reid, you tell me right now. Friday the 30th. I'll make it happen. Yeah, hopefully Ramon will get his shit together, and the new single will come out the same day that this podcast comes out, which is Friday the 30th. It's called Cover Me. And then every month over the summer and into the fall, I'll release another song, and then the record will come out in November. So in the fall, we'll be falling and flying. Falling and flying. Yeah, we already fell and flew. That was last month. Oh, damn. Okay. Yep, it's out. Ramon, right. You haven't listened to it? I have. Okay, I think I have. It's on Spotify. What are your thoughts on No, I'm kidding. Oh boy. I could talk, but all right. We're out of time. But yeah, we're out of time. Thank you so much, Reid. Go check them out. Reid Brothers. Reid Bros. Reid Bros. Yes, Reid Bros. It's ReidBros on Spotify. Please pronounce it brothers if you can. If you just can't, Reid Bros is fine. Is that kind of like Led Zeppelin in that they're supposed to be like I read somewhere they were supposed to be LEAD, but they changed it to LED because they didn't want people to say Lead Zeppelin. Mine is completely different. Okay, never mind. Mine is named after a store that my grandfather owned that was called Reid Brothers. Really? Yes. Oh shit. Yeah, and so it's the logoing is very similar to the logoing from his store, and it was abbreviated BROS period. So it's the original thought was to try to make it less confusing so that people didn't think there were a bunch of people with the last name Reid in the band called that were all brothers. But now everybody just calls it Reid Bros, and I fucking hate it. But I've learned to live with it. I've learned to live with it. Reid Brothers, sorry. Reid.
You can call it Reid Bros.
But
Just it doesn't matter what you call it. Just listen.
That's true. You can call me what.
Just
I'm
don't
not
call
even
me
gonna do that
late
saying.
for dinner.
Yeah. This, by the way, this hat was the first hat that I immediately knew I had to have. I'm a big hat connoisseur, and I bought a lot of hats in my time, and this one is something I knew I had.
It's a good
to
hat.
have. It is a great hat.
I designed
it
myself.
You picked a good company to.
Yeah.
So
Put it all together.
I'm super happy with
Yeah,
that.
it was inspired by a beer company that I. So I didn't really design it.
Miller Lite? No.
No, it was it's like a local beer company from some place in the Midwest.
Okay.
But well, and Ramon, we're talking too much.
No, we're not. Go on. We have one more thought.
It's just like when you buy a car and you think you're the only person who's ever bought this car, and then you take it off the lot and you see 5,000 of those cars.
I know what you're talking about, but I haven't seen anyone that. I haven't seen another hat that resembles this.
Really, I see them everywhere.
Well, I think that's in your own
mind.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
Now we're reverting back to have you seen your neighbors bringing their groceries? So
Ooh.
maybe in some other realm,
Some sort of simulation.
Yeah.
Well,
anyways, all right. Again, thank you so much, dude.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.